like. Sorry, I'm just gonna... That's Michael Poland. Anyway, I'm joined in commentary by Grump. Not much said about the US drivers at the moment. We got 2 Canadians and the rest are Americans. Well, in any case, it's going to be an interesting telling point to see who comes out on top here. We've got 1 driver from F1, 1 driver from F2, a driver from F3, and then the rest make up F4. So be an interesting telling point to see who turns up where when it comes down to pole position and the race format. Watching Michael Poland on screen, as you say, and there's a Toro Rosso in front of him. That's Peyton. Actually, I haven't actually come to affiliate myself with the names either, because these are drivers from F4, which I do not commentate for. I will just quickly grab the form that I gave to Harry ages ago to look at it. We've got Preston. Shoot, this one's out of date. That's right, because he joined late. So we will, I just have to refer back to the F4, F4 speedy number 25, there we go. His name is Peyton Schofield. Sorry, so Peyton Schofield is our first effective driver on the circuit. And we'll have a rider onboard virtual lap. Oh no, he's backing off, he must be letting something through. He's just going slow, but we'll stay with Michael Poland on this virtual lap as he heads into turn 3, or turn 4, sorry, I should say, and then navigates his way through 5 and 6. Want to get on the stay off the curbs here at good lengths, because it will throw your car out off kilter. So it's going to be an interesting coming through and then transitioning down the main straight or the back straight. The DRS activates, and then turn 10 and 11, one of the trickier corners. It seems like one of the easier corners really, but it's actually quite tricky, especially if you hit the curb there at 11. Into 12, it's kind of a double apex, and we've already got Bojan disconnected. Not much can do about that from the spectator perspective, I don't think. No, we can't. So here comes Michael down the back straight, down the main straight now. DRS activated, I should say. Across the line, does a 31.1 on the soft tyre. Not too bad actually there for Michael. And now we'll wait and see if anyone can beat this. Yep, it's beaten by Courtney Jackson, I believe that is.
Is Scorpion Sting meant to be in the Renault, or is he meant to be in a Ferrari?
There's been a bit of a change around over the last course of the last hour or so, but he's in the Renault now, so...
Right, then.
Coming through, so Courtney Jackson... So the order is Courtney Jackson from Leaf, Sanfuegos, Ethan Lossings, Jonathan Carton.
Oh,
And there's Mike having a bit of a spin at, is that 11? Yeah, that's 11.
yeah, he's hit the wall. He's made contact with the wall there.
Yeah, he looks like he's coming out in one piece. He's just going to have to wait. Bojan has come back in.
Minor front wing damage, I think.
Ooh. Wonder what that's about. So we'll just wait and see if Bojan can come in, back in. It's some kind of desynchronization error. Matthew Elliott has gone P6 with a 1:33.9. Payton and of course Bojan have not set times yet. All the drivers seem to be doing a variant strategy of either softs or hards, no one really going for the mediums. Very interesting to say the least. So the fastest times are 29.1 on the softs, and then it's a 29.9 on the hards. We saw Joseph Roberts with a 27.9 on the hards, which is the fastest so far of everyone. Mediums, that's Jonathan Cutton. We've got Michael Poland coming out on the mediums. We've got Bojan in, no, Bojan out. I wonder if that's to do with... I think it's to do with this league system, so it's possible that... So hang on, trying again. And... Nope, this time it looks like he's good. Third time the charm. Hopefully it doesn't warrant too much. Anyway, 9 minutes left on the clock. We're just waiting to see if anyone can pip off Courtney Jackson in the Renault.
Here comes Ethan Lossing on a hot lap. See what he can do. Oh, he's coming into the pits.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's done too many runs on his tyres to be able to really make an ends meet on it. Jonathan's on a hot lap though, running the 25. I do believe that's because it's his birthday tomorrow, but running it anyway. We don't usually run... We don't usually run synonymous numbers based on birthdays and all not, but there's a petition. And I believe we've got a red flag coming about due to glitching in the system. So we might have a bit of a delay.
Yeah, what's happening to Bam Bam over in Mackenzie?
So it looks like whatever the case is, it's going to red flag this session and we're going to have an unranked lobby put in place. So we've been trying and dabbling with the league system. It worked pretty well for the Oceania system and everything else. Didn't quite play out as well for the other one, so we'll just wait until such time as we get some things sorted out. So we apologise for the lack of actual broadcasting or just sorting through, yeah, just a glitch that's stopping people from coming in and out, so just waiting for information on that. Just going to have a quick look at the race director and have a few things. So we've got a couple of invalidated times there, so nothing too extravagant. So just waiting for the new lobby to be created. We won't worry so much about the holding the broadcast down or anything like that. Bahrain actually goes up to P2 despite all that. If host migration was successful, you may be able to rejoin the session. Oh yeah. Fair enough. So we're just waiting. So terrible apologies for all that. We're just waiting for this all to be sussed out and sorted through. Till then, how was your vacation, Harry?
As well, so really good.
It goes without saying. No, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be fixed up either. So just still waiting for Matt to send invites. Just taking his sweet time. We also again apologise for the broadcast of the Oceania. We didn't have much in the way of internet quality with the driver the commentator that did it, so it didn't quite go the way it was meant to, but I think either which way it should kind of pay off next weekend at China, so yeah, he did a really good job for that. I'm just gonna file through and So that'll bring the numbers up from 9 to 10. Possibly even 11. I'll just get you to go to spectator as well so that you can... So we're just waiting for one more guy to come and then we've... Okay, yep, so now he's in.
There he is. We've lost a couple of drivers.
We did too. Who was that?
Oh.
No, them in there. Someone else's.
Sorry, I was accidentally scrolled down. Alright, I think we're ready to go. Take 2. Okay.
Okay, so take 2, hopefully. Hopefully this time we'll...
There we go. Alright, let's hope this works. It's 3 cars coming out now, I believe. Got Michael Poland.
Once again out on the circuit first, followed by Peyton. Then we've got the newcomer who joined. I can't remember who that was, to be honest. I'll have to go through the actual registration thing to find his name. Andy Burkhart is his name, so P3 Andy Burkhardt. We've got a Sector 1 incident already in place, and that's actually Matthew Elliott having a spin at Vettel Corner. Doesn't look, everyone's kind of changed their mind on their tyre strategies for the race, which is interesting. Not everyone too optimistic on the idea of staying on the hards again like they were in the previous session. We've got Ethan Lossing,
the thing
and
about Bahrain, it's absolutely cruel on tyres. So drivers need to manage their tyre wear while also trying to pump out consistent lap times. It's a real test for the drivers at this track.
Couldn't have said it better myself, to be honest. And it's punishing for that nature. The left front always takes quite a bit of a whacking around here, so you just got to be careful about how you approach each and every corner, whether you want to be fast and destroy the tyres, or whether you want to be slow and excuse me, as we're going to go on board with Matthew Elliott here, and we're going to ride on board with him. He's actually, no, you're not, because he's going to abandon that lap, so we'll ride on board with, there's actually no one really close enough to really validate a full flying lap. Oh no, here we go, we'll go on board with Leaf Sanfuegos. So as he comes around the last corner and heads down the main straight, activates the DRS, plants it down 7th gear, 8th gear down the straight. There's a nice little bump here that if you hit it right, it actually can give you just that little bit extra acceleration. Don't ask me how. Turn 1, hard on the brakes, 2nd gear, a little bit of a jittering from the lag effect into turn 2 and turn 3, shifts it into 4th gear to keep the traction down, pumps it down 7th gear. Does he hit 8th gear before turn 4? Yep, and then goes a bit outwardly to try and make the corner more narrow, holds it down through 5, 6, as Peyton does the fastest lap of the race, or the session, of 29.3 on the mediums. Andy goes P2 with a 30 dead. Anyway, carrying on through turns 8 and 9. I've got another yellow flag. I don't think that's for a driver, is it? No. Oh, yes it is. It's Michael Poland's had a spin. Anyway, coming down the straight into turn 10. He's missed the apex quite a lot there. That's going to hurt him a little bit coming through 11. Which, if you hit the curve here, it's game over. Just Michael slowing down for the field. And then through 12, down the straight. This is primarily where I thought a DRS zone would have been better for it. Into the last turn. Hits the apex and then brings it down, starts the acceleration, will climb towards the main straight. He's actually going to abandon this lap too, so not obviously very happy with the mediums, or he's actually just trying to do something here. Now, what's Matt up to? Matt's just gone horrendously wide at turn 9. He's actually changed also onto the medium tyres, hard tyres, so I'm not sure what his game plan on that is. His teammate's currently P3 on the same tyre. That's a bit bottlenecking along too, sorry. It's been a long night. So current order is Peyton. Bojan's come in at last after a bit of a time away, so he'll join at the back of the grid, probably not in his car, although in saying that there is no Red Bull free, so it might validate. So as Courtney Jackson goes to the top with a 29.1 on the soft tyres, so the average lap speed of these drivers around this track at the moment isn't too flash. Here comes Matt, he's gonna, oh sorry, no, this was Ethan, so Ethan trying to find some lap time in pursuit of a good result for him. Jonathan Carton apparently experimenting with medium traction. Oh, Bojan. Just doesn't seem to be getting any better for him, although Jonathan seems to have switched back to the 94 during that gap between now and the other session, so that's pretty well quickly changed. it's just interesting to see how it all plays out. So the sole Ferrari driver at the moment. Oh, he's gone around at 11 and in the fence, and that's game over.
Oh man,
That was a huge one.
unfortunate for him.
He actually launched the car too, so it's just a simple. Oh, I think I thought one of the Renaults was actually about to go after him. Well, the only Renault, I should say. These two were actually supposed to be teammates, ironically too. So things change and matters come into effect. Still no one really looking to beat that time. Everyone seems to be just worrying about their strategy more than they are about getting a decent lap time in, so if I was someone like Matthew Alley, I probably would be more worried about going for the fastest lap, go on pole and utilise the two-stop strategy, because the two-stop can be as effective as the one-stop, and especially around Bahrain where drivability has, as he goes off at 3, you're just better off to manage yourself, because if you stay out of trouble, and believe me, around here, turn 1, trouble always finds you. It just really, for me, it's the smarter routine would be to go for the two-stop and just hope that people around you have altercations, which every race has had so far this weekend, especially in Europe, with Eden Haas locking up at turn 1 and taking out his own teammate. If you're really struggling to get that rear end to settle down.
Yeah, I think strategy is going to be a very big factor in this race at Bahrain, because literally anything can happen around here, and as you said, turn 1 is quite a hectic turn, especially on the opening laps when everyone's kind of cramped together. And it's a long race, tyres degrade very quickly as previously stated, so I think a good two-stop strategy and a little bit of luck could win over this race.
Exactly, and it's pretty much nobody's really taking the gamble. It's more about the strategy of going for the one stop. So at the moment, Courtney Jackson's the only one that's really just worried about getting a good lap in, being at the front and staying out of the first turn calamity. And then you've got drivers like Andy Durant and what is Bam Bam's actual name? I've forgotten. Just have a double check on that one. I think that's still on your list. Jovan McKenzie. Or Jovan, so they're both looking at different alternatives to the situation. We've only got 8 minutes left in the session. I think Bojan's in. I don't know whether he got disconnected. Oh, we've got Andy in the fence at turn 9. I think he's got wing damage too from the looks of it. Might have gotten away with it. No, definitely hasn't. So that's some unwanted wing damage. He'll have to come back in, and it was a fine lap too, so he'll be disappointed about that given the circumstances for all that. Now Matt and Leaf have both not set times yet. So it's going to be difficult for them to break through the field, especially if everyone gets through turn 1 cleanly. That's nobody. I think it's just Andy coming in. Oh, excuse me. Oh, we got Michael going wide at 9. Someone's just jumped up the order. Leaf's gone up to P4 with a 30 dead on the mediums, or the hards, I should say. I'm just confused a little bit as to why so many people aren't worrying about the end game sort of thing. Like, the two-stop's going to be just as effective as the one-stop, but nobody seems to want to budge. They'd rather start at the back on a set of hards in hopes that people take each other out at the start, rather than qualify up the front, take a two-stop strategy gamble, and potentially bank on a safety car and whatnot. I mean, they do happen from time to time, so it's not completely out of the books for one to happen. Especially since we're in a regional system, so it means that the internet quality should be a little better between every person, which means that the game should recognise instances more to the point of deploying safety cars. That's the general impression. Now we've got a blinker. Actually, we've got two blinkers, so we've got Peyton setting himself onto the softs. We've got Andy putting himself on the softs, and they're coming out. I don't know if Leaf is carrying on with this or he's about to put it in the pits, but he's gonna start a chain reaction. Well, Peyton is gonna start a chain reaction for people. We've got Ethan Lossings on the mediums. Matt still hasn't actually moved, so I don't know whether he's just content on starting on the hards or just is trying to find a way to tune his setup, despite the fact that as Jovan goes to the top with a 28.5 on the mediums.
Oh, that's a blistering lap.
That's a better lap. I wouldn't call it blistering, but
compared to the others.
Well, compared to the others, yeah, but it's definitely room for improvement for the most part, given the most of the Oceania drivers were doing 27s on the mediums. We've got sector 2, which I think is just a slowdown. What can Michael Poland do? He's now on the softs. It'll be an interesting telling point to see what he can pull out based on that kind of information. Matthew Elliott still not coming out on circuit yet. Hasn't even made an attempt to change a tyre yet as well, so he must be considering the idea of just starting on the hards and hoping that everyone around him all push to the two-stop, which under certain circumstances could pay off. Sometimes it might not. It's just better to be cautious on what you think rather than what you do. Just waiting for someone to actually start a flyer. I think Peyton is the only one on the flyer that's pretty much the closest to finishing one, so we'll just keep an eye on him.
Michael Poland is about to go out on his hot lap here on a pair of softs.
So he'll start
Here
it.
he goes.
Let's just see. Peyton is probably the first person that's going to record a flying lap in this, what we like to call the happy hour, where drivers pretty much come out and try and pull out the fastest lap, and the times generally tumble. So we'll see what Peyton can do from this position.
Michael Poland seems to have messed up his lap there going into turn 1. There was a slow McLaren, but that was nothing to do with it. He seems to have caught the curb and gone a bit wide. So we'll see what Peyton can do here.
So Peyton's about to cross the line. He'll go to the top with a 28.1. Here comes Ethan Lossing. Ethan goes P3 with a 28.8. So it's a Toro Rosso 1-2 at the moment. We've just got to wait for... Well, he's abandoned his lap, Andy. Michael Poland could be a dark horse in this, though currently with the fastest time of a 33 dead on the mediums. He's got a lot of ground he needs to cover here, but it's a possibility from any stretch of the imagination. This is a different category, a different set of drivers, so anything's a strong possibility for Michael as he comes around the last corner. Looks like he's harvesting actually down the line. Across the line, slight improvement, but not enough to move up any positions. And Matthew Elliott has abandoned his qualifying session, so that is interesting to say the least.
as Michael Pollan has spun at turn 1.
He has two, so you'll probably want to get out of people's way here, especially given what's going on. So I think Andy's qualifying's pretty much done. He can't carry on. Jovan hasn't come back out, so his qualifying is done. Ethan could bring a charge here on the last run here and try and... Although it doesn't look like he's actually given it everything, so he must be going for a good one now. We'll just watch. Yeah, he's just cranked it into full ERS, and now he's going to go for it, so he'll try and do something here. We've got... Oh, Courtney's gone wide into okay, Matthew's statement on why he retired doesn't quite elate, but we'll go with it for the sake of entertainment. So Michael pulls out of his session. We'll just keep an eye on Ethan here, because he could still provisionally put himself on the front row if he can just find 3 more tenths in his lap to get P2, and then another 7 tenths to get P3. Leafs abandon his lap. Courtney didn't improve on his to go anywhere with it. Actually, he might have, actually. That might have been his improvement, but it wasn't enough to change position. But here comes Ethan. So Ethan's the only person here at the moment that can stop the Toro Rosso Honda front row, and he's...
Whoa!
Okay. Shouldn't really do that while we're watching the screen, but I mean, we could always just play it off as some kind of huge off. But it's Toro Rosso 1-2. That's an interesting development. We'll just have a look at some of the racing incidences that we see. I think he must have invalidated his lap. That's probably why he's done it. Either which way, we'll just wait for the drivers now to reconvene themselves back on the grid, and we'll get underway. Okay, so we will have 10 drivers on today's grid, with Bojan finally making it onto the grid after a series of disconnections and whatnot. We're a little behind schedule because of the aborted first session, qualifying session. We're now finally into the race. In a few minutes' time, we'll get Harry to run us through the TK Media starting grid for the US-Canada regionals. We haven't got any South Americans yet. Any South Americans watching or that will watch and want to join the regionals, they're more than welcome to. Just comment in the comment section below with your interest, or anyone that wants to join the Transnation eSports, more than welcome to comment down below, and be more than welcome to join the community in preparations for tomorrow's Big 4 event. So the formation lap now getting underway. Now there's a lot of... there we go. Sorry, there was... the HUD was turned off for that. So, Harry, take it away.
I'll try my best. So we've got... what's Peyton's first name?
Peyton.
Peyton, yeah, we got Peyton. This list you're giving me isn't exactly updated.
No.
We have Ethan Lossing in 3rd place on the 2nd grid. We've got Courtney starting 4th. Is this Leif? Can't pronounce the last name. Starting 5th. And
This is Andy Burkhardt in P6.
And Jonathan Carton starting P7 next to Michael Pollan. On the back row of the grid, we have Matthew Elia and Bojan Ivanic.
Bojan Ivanic. Very Serbian last name. Interesting fact, actually, most people in Serbia, Slovakia, and all that mostly end in their last name with an IC. It's just a very common denominator, like how in America you have a lot of Smiths or name, they're like the Smiths of Serbia.
Anyway, enough, you don't get many Lillises.
No, well, you don't get much Keenans either, but I mean, at least not around the world. In New Zealand, not too much, but so Peyton will line his Toro Rosso up on the grid. He's done himself no favours by leaving the rest of the field behind. He's going to have super cold tyres by the time Bojan makes it onto the grid. So not really sure what his end game with that one was. So you've got one Toro Rosso on the front row that's using the mediums. Then you have another one who's on the soft. So this will be an interesting point of who gets off the line. The lights build up. It's lights out and away we go for the US Regional Championship. And it looked like it was actually ready to start by Jovan. Heading into turn 1, he's actually going to take the lead into turn 1. They've all filed through reasonably cleanly. Doesn't look like there's too much headaches going through, and everyone seems to go through cleanly. Matthew Elliott definitely logging back a bit from the rest of the field, just staying out of everyone's way. Jonathan Carton's going to have a look here on the inside of Leaf. Leave a bit of biff and barge, but it looks like they're all gone through. So surprisingly, everyone's managed to get through turn 1 and the most of the first lap relatively in one piece. They're all now slotting into single file, so the two Toro Rossos lead them off from Courtney Jackson. Then it's Ethan Lossing, Jonathan Carton, good start from him up to P5, Leif Cienfuegos in P6, Michael Pollan 7th, and then it's Andy Bojan and Matt Elia, who's now going really wide at 9 in the 10. So just watching them as they go through. So Jovan definitely had the better of the two starts between the Toro Rossos, and that's how he's managed to get himself ahead of his teammate. But his teammate on the softer tyre should still have the residual track difference between them, so he'll be able to make a move here if he can get the traction down as quickly as possible. So let's ride on board. We'll ride on board with Peyton as they go down the back straight. He, of course, Jovan will set the fastest lap of the race because it's the first lap. No active stupidity. Oh, Peyton really deep on the brakes coming out of the last corner. First corner, Jonathan holding down position as Bojan makes a move on Michael Pollan. And don't forget, if everyone finishes today's race in the 90%, they'll all score points. So that's a welcome bonus for the American and Canadian community here today. So Harry, your thoughts on the start?
Yeah, whoa, relatively clean. Absolutely on the line there. Was expecting a bit of contact into turn 1. Might have been a couple of nudges, but overall, that seems like they've got away pretty clean for the most part. I can definitely see some stuff unfolding in this race. Michael Pollan with minor front wing damage, actually, I've just noticed. In that position. Don't know what he's done there. But the Toro Rossos are storming ahead. They've got incredible pace at the moment. We'll have to see how this plays out later on in the race.
We've got a couple of battles here brewing, most notably between the top position 3 and 4, Ethan on the back of Courtney, and then you've got Jonathan leading an angry pack of Leaf, and Andy and Bojan has now actually joined that fray as well. So we actually got Leaf coming in early. Is that front wing damage on Leaf's car? Maybe it's hard to see. We'll just wait in a minute to see if he...
And Michael Poland is coming in as well, I believe, for front wing damage.
No, this is a strategy change.
Oh. Yeah, he's changing to the hard tyre. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's no damage on the front of that McLaren, so it's easy to... I don't know what kind of strategies, but maybe he's just getting out of the congestion. Let Bojan have a crack at him, because Bojan's actually managed to clear Andy too. So Bojan's on a bit of a charge from the back of the field. He'll claw onto the back of Jonathan in a few minutes' time and make that overtake. The battle for third place is still heating up, quite frankly, and actually through all this, Peyton's actually managed to overtake his teammate. So don't know where that's happened, but
Peyton is on the soft tyre, so...
Oh, hang on, sorry, we just had a move there. Ethan... Oh, and... Okay, oh, and...
There?
I don't know, but Michael's just... I was just watching Michael to see if we could find where he's done it. And I can't see it, but he's had a spin, so... Is it here? No. Oh, yeah, it was. Not sure what to make of that. We'll probably find that out sooner or later in the Discord, I'd imagine. Here comes Bojan on Jonathan, but Jonathan doesn't even have a chance to goes defensive, but there was just nothing there. But Jonathan
looking for an overtake too here. He's gone down the inside. The Ferrari.
Yeah, but he won't be able to get it here. But he'll have the DRS coming down the back straight. But Jonathan has the DRS on Bojan at the same time, so Bojan's on an absolute mission at the moment. He's probably a little upset that he didn't get into qualifying and put a setup on, but he's just absolutely flooring this car, and at the moment he's currently sitting on a career best. Now a lot of these drivers race in fact all of these drivers apart from Andy all race in the National Series, which races tomorrow as Matthew Elliott goes wide. He's holding down P7. Matthew's done a pretty good job to just stay out of people's way. Now, I just realised that the reason that Bojan's up to P4 is that Courtney's had a spin somewhere. Because he's all of a sudden down to P8. I didn't actually click onto that, so I don't know what to make of that, but either which way, the battle up the front's starting to brew quite extensively, because now Jovan, who sets the fastest lap of the race, has got the DRS on his own teammate. We'll see what kind of battle will they do. Will they battle each other too much, or will they actually play cleanly? And they're going to squabble for this, actually. So, but now I think Jovan got the DRS, so we've got... Ooh, one of the Haas of Andy going super wide. Oh! Nearly cleaned up Matthew Elliott as he lost the rear end. So we've got information from Leaf that indicates... Hang on, we've got a sector that's Mike having an off. For the 5 idiots that dive bomb the first 3 turns, you don't win a race on lap 1. So there must have been some kind of indiscretion at the start of the race for Leaf, and I wonder if that's just billowed up into what we call rage quitting material. But we don't generally like to see it, but people just tend to one on lap 1. Some cases it can be, some cases it can't be, but you don't tend to want to put yourself in the position to do it. Now, Ethan's managed to really pull in some good mileage through here, because he's now right on the back of the 2 Toro Rossos.
Speaking of the Toro Rossos, Peyton's dropped back from first back into second again. I don't know what's happened there. And he's lost quite a bit of time to his teammate.
Yeah, no, there was a clean overtake there at turn 1, and we've got Courtney with another spin, this time at turn 11. Maybe this is where he did it last time as well. Michael's still back in the pointing, and Matthew Elliott is now up to P5 because Jonathan is now in from position 5. And it's just a normal strategy change. So on to another set of softs. So that's a 2-stop for Jonathan Cutton. And we've got Courtney Jackson also coming in from position 8. We would expect to think another 2-stop. So another set of softs on for the Williams, and away it goes. But yeah, as you say, so the pace on Peyton's car is starting to drop off, and pretty much to what you would already know, based on the tyre differences with him being on the softs and all the others around him being on the mediums. So it's a definite difference in strategy. Now, what kind of pace has Bojan got versus these guys? Is he catching them, or is he losing time? He's kind of catching by the minusculest of margins. He's definitely wringing the neck out of that Red Bull.
We'll have to watch here the gap between Ethan Losing and Peyton here, because of course Peyton's on the soft tyre, which should probably
he's coming in
soon start. Yeah, he's coming in. Yeah,
so
I was going to say, because Ethan Losing, of course, on the medium tyre, would have had to have overtaken him sooner or later within the next couple of laps. But
so what's it going to be here? Is it going to be mediums, or is it going to be? It's another set of softs. So you could generally do the 1-stop by taking the softs to lap 10, but it's a very tall order on the best of times. So okay, so Leaf had come in for a pit stop to change a front wing, but it didn't change it, so that's where that comes down to. Now, I'm just trying to think. So, okay, so yeah, so Andy is expected in relatively soon because he's on his pretty much the dying lengths of his tyres. The gap between Matthew Elliott and Bojan is 5.3 seconds, but the gap between Bojan and it's starting to extend a little bit more out, actually. So whatever Bojan's burst of energy was is sort of starting to subside a little bit. I wonder if that's to do with a little bit to do with ERS and whatnot. But looks like the top 3 have pretty much kind of got their own little systems here. So if the way it goes is that as long as, technically speaking, as long as Bojan stays within this kind of branch of these two drivers, he should still technically, he might actually end up on the podium. We've got Andy now in from P5, medium tyres for Andy this time, so different strategy. He's going to be coming out just between him. No, Jonathan's actually cleared him, so that's P6. As Courtney Jackson does the fastest lap of the race, was just on board with him as he did that. And then Michael back in P9, so 32 seconds off P1, P7, 8, that one. So we should be expecting to see the medium runners come in roughly about lap 10, between lap 10 and lap 13, which is the projected times for the softs. So, I'm sorry, the mediums. Ooh, Mr. Naughty, Mr. Poland. So Ethan is catching Jovan every now and again. For
Michael Poland's come in, replaced his hards to a pair of softs and got another new front wing.
Yeah, it's not been the best day in the office for Mr. Poland. Ethan's gap is prompting the idea that it could almost bring Ethan into the undercut window here. The gap's 3 seconds, so you roughly want about a 2.5 second gap between between you and the driver, you want to undercut before you start instigating it, because the undercut isn't quite as powerful around here as, say, the likes of Singapore or other places where fresher tyres make the difference. So it'll be interesting to see what transpires as it goes down the road. For example, Bojan is definitely Bojan's in a position where he could do the undercut to kind of make some ground, but not necessarily to make an overtake, whereas Matthew Elliott is kind of in the same boat. Very weird seeing him in a Mercedes and saying that, but you know, to each their own for different categories. Jonathan just still holding on to P6, sorry. And then Courtney Jackson, we'll be wondering what happened to him at some point, because yeah, he's lost a lot of positions based on where he started and how he managed to get through the field. So the gap 3.2 seconds, so every time that Ethan tries to mount an attack, Jovan responds with more pace. So it's pretty level pegging. It's going to come down to probably who's got the better pace on the harder tyre.
Matthew Elliott has just had a massive spin.
Oh, he has too. Where's that? That's turn...
Has he hit the wall?
Turn 3.
He's gotten away with no wing damage, I believe.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably just done... It's a very easy thing to do. You just unload yourself as you come out of 2. So what we'll do is try and find someone that's close to turn 2, which actually was Scorpion. So as Scorpion goes through, or Courtney goes through, you go there, and there is like a little tiny bump in the corner that as soon as you hit that, if you don't hit that in the right gear, it offloads the rear end of the car, and it just feels like, it almost just feels like you have the entirety of your downforce just sucked out from underneath you, and as a result you just end up going into the gravel on the other side. So he's been fortunate enough that he has avoided the wall, but that's going to knock a bit of confidence off him, and he'll want to now get himself...
He was making a lot of ground. He was...
Oh, sorry to interrupt you there. We've got Ethan in, so Ethan's now instigating the undercut. So this will be an interesting turn of events. Bojan now moves up to P2. Has the undercut from Peyton to Ethan worked? Yes, it has. So this is not ideally what... ideally, this isn't what Ethan wanted, and in even more worse circumstances, having Michael in front of him isn't going to help him either. So he's lucky enough to have come out in front of his teammate, but of course, based on the teammate stands, Matthew would have easily have gotten out of his way. But he now has to try and navigate his way past Michael, which could, depending on how quickly he reaches that part of the track, could hurt him. And in this case, Jovan might not need to protect this undercut. So we'll see what happens, whether or not Jovan responds to this. I would say personally, Bojan's probably going to want to be that person to take the lead of the race at one point, so I don't think he's going to come in until after Jovan comes in. So as we see, Jovan is actually covering. No one's, apart from Michael, is yet to trip the accelerator line, so Bojan's now going to, for the first time in his career, lead a Grand Prix. And he'll use that to full extent, whether he'll put the hammer down or try and do something here, but he's done an absolutely stellar job, Bojan, and he's actually pulled the gap out from Peyton by 2 seconds over the last couple of laps, so that's pretty good, impressive run there. And Michael gets out of the way of Ethan, but the undercut didn't work for Ethan in the slightest, so that's going to be... Now it's just a matter to see who's got the faster car on the harder tyre.
Now, Boyan's medium tyres are now 11 laps old, so I'd expect them to be coming in very soon.
Yeah, you pretty much hit that one on the head. It's not too long before we see Boyan come in, but he'll want to tick that box off to say that he has led a Grand Prix. He's in the lead at the moment,
Yes.
but he hasn't recorded a lap yet in the lead, so he'll want to do that at least once before he puts himself in the pit lane. Well, actually, even if he does go into pit lane, he'll still cross the line. Well, I think he'll cross the line ahead of everyone. But he wasn't too sure about that, actually.
Coming in now.
Didn't know what to do, but I think we'll just wait. Yep, he crosses the line, so Bojan Ivanovic finally records a race lead point, I suppose you could call it. Yep, so that's the one-stop strategy at play here, so he'll come out... He's going to come out behind Michael and Matt. Might actually be in danger too here from Jonathan as well, actually. I know, he's cleared Jonathan quite convincingly. He nearly goes a bit wide for his efforts. But, oh, he's sliding all over the show. He's trying to get those hards up to temp. So, Peyton will be due in any tick of the clock now because, Sector 1.
Same with Matthew Elliott.
No.
His mediums are now 12 laps old.
Well, actually, speaking of Matthew, he's dropped it at 3.
Oh, he spun. And he's got major front wing damage. He's lost most of his left front wing.
Yeah, well, he was due in probably about this lap anyway, so he's probably going to come in now. Well, he's most definitely going to come in now. That takes a little bit of pressure off Bojan in his pursuit of Ethan, but he is 8 seconds off the off the lead there. But like I say, Peyton will be due in now. But he's actually gonna try and hang it out a little longer than previously expected. But we'll see how that plays out as it comes along. He's losing a lot of time. I understand where he's coming from and what his game plan is from that. But it's going to be pretty much a long-winded road to try and claw that gap back while he can. So, Matthew Elliott limping back to the pits with that wounded Mercedes. Oh, there's the red dot. I was looking for the red dot, well, the red star that the Mercedes has on its car that it was used to commemorate Niki Lauda, but I couldn't find it on the right hand side, but found it on the left, so Matt's now in the pit. So the gap's 5.8 seconds. Oh, and Mr. Poland's just had another off at turn 5. He's just getting out of the way of the rest of the field. Oh, that is cruel. That's unfair, Codemasters.
Cody's knock him when he's down. Wow. That is cruel.
He and Jonathan just about almost simultaneously went into the turn 8 pit wall, well, into the F2 pit wall, so it'll be an interesting thing to see. Now, what's with these last minute decisions with the drivers? They seem to just think, stay out, no, I'll dive in, sort of thing. So that's gonna, we'll just wait and see. So Peyton's still trundling down the pits. Sector 3. That's probably Michael again? No, that's not.
Peyton has swapped to a set of mediums.
And Bojan should move into P3. So at the moment, even with P3 or 4, Bojan will record a career best finish. So I think something had happened while I was trying to express this point. Oh, and actually Jonathan, this is not good for Peyton.
Uh-oh.
He would not have been wanting to have Jonathan in the way, so that's going to slow his charge down on trying to grab Bojan for the podium. Although in saying that, the the tyre difference isn't that much. So even with the difference in tyre, as Peyton goes down the inside of Jonathan at the hairpin, and looks like he's got it done. Although Jonathan's got the traction, he's going to try it. Probably going to hold his ground here. No, it looks like he's managed to keep it in check. He'll have DRS again. So will Jonathan have another lunge? No, I think he's going to keep it in check and keep it in place. So I will admit the Jonathan of now has definitely improved from the Jonathan of previous years. In previous seasons, he would have just gone straight for the dive bomb, back up the inside as soon as the gap was there. So he's definitely improved over the last couple of seasons. Of course, he did take a 2-season sabbatical away from the sport to get his head on. So Bojan's probably been now given a reprieve by that little bit of battling from the two Italian teams.
Jonathan has stretched those softs to the absolute brink. 10 laps old, and he's coming for mediums now, of course.
Well,
he has absolutely strained those softs out.
And that would have been on the purpose of basically making sure that he could get to a set of mediums and get them to the end. So pretty good job to hold on to that. So
now everyone pretty much is on brand new fresh tyres.
I'll get you to take the floor for a bit. I'll just duck away quickly.
So it looks like Ethan Lossing has the oldest tyres out on the track at the moment. 5-lap-old pair of hards. Shouldn't make too much of a difference. The other people running hards have 3-lap-old and 4-lap-old tyres. It's going to be a really good race towards the end here now that everyone is on brand new tyres. What will tend to happen is now, in this time, the medium tyre drivers are going to be starting to catch up quite a substantial amount, as it is the fastest tyre by about 4.3 a lap. But then late game, hards will begin to really come into effect as the mediums begin to fade away. But at the moment though, the medium tyres should be a lot quicker than the hards.
Well, it's definitely showing anyway. Peyton's starting to really pull that gap into Bojan. So everyone's running a completely different strategy based on the telemetry. At the end of it, it looks like things are kind of playing out smoothly. We have lost Michael in the race at some point. I'd say probably just the amount of penalties and spins probably just was too much.
Yeah, just before you left, he got another 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits.
Yeah, so probably just thought that was enough for the day and ended it early. So, of course, don't forget tomorrow, guys, we have the National Series, the F2 and F3 at 9 o'clock New Zealand Standard Time, the F4 and the F1 at the 11 Standard Time. Come and watch me take my first race back in F3 after a very tiring and stressful season already in F1. So I'll be racing in Red Bull. Hopefully we'll bring one home for the boys in Milton Keynes. So nobody really moving on the idea of maybe going for the fastest lap. We'll see what happens with more towards the soft window, which would be about lap 20, lap 21. And we'll see if that can instigate some interesting developments. Sector 2 incident. Oh, Matthew Elliott again. It's just not his day today. He's just struggling to find the balance in his car. It looks like he does have some wing damage this time, so might be. Oh no, he's gonna. Yep. I wish he just went straight ahead. So wonder if that's gonna prompt safety car maybe.
Boyan really starting to close here. It's gone down to 2 seconds just about. And as Payne approaches the DRS zone now, probably next lap he'll grab the DRS and maybe past passed straight by Boyan here.
Now I don't know who's just been given the hosting opportunity, but this will be an interesting telling point to see if that changes how the internet plays out for these drivers. But yeah, like you say, Peyton's really mowing Boyan down at the moment.
But here's the thing that I love about strategy. As Peyton will begin to catch up, well, he already has been, it's down to 1.5 seconds now. While he's catching up now, towards late game, like late game, so about, about 25, the hard tyre will begin to thrive as the mediums begin to kind of fade out. So it's going to be a really close race, or a close battle for third here between Payne and Boyan. That's probably going to be the main battle here.
And just having a look at the...
and... Yeah, sorry, you go.
No, I'm just having a look at the winners and losers of today's race. So, biggest winner definitely by far is Boyan, 7 positions from the start. Biggest loser at the moment is Peyton and Courtney, both dropped 3 positions now. That'll all remedy itself a little bit. So, strategy-wise, yeah, I did say that the strategy for the race would be to go try and do the 2-stop if you've got the pace to do it. Now, Peyton, I believe, was compromised by his own teammate during the first stint because he ended up battling his teammate, lost ground, and because of that, when he pit for the first time, he lost out, and he was stuck behind traffic for the most part. So, coming into the second stop, he has come out behind those on the 1 stop. But you can see, as Boyan's going defensive, you probably should be careful. You don't want to be making too many moves there, Boyan. The move's going to get done here, even though Boyan's going to go... Oh, Boyan, you shouldn't really be weaving either, pal.
Here we go, this could be tight.
Boyan's going to try and be late on the brakes. Surprising. Oh, we got Jonathan off at 11. There's wing damage there, and that's going to put Courtney up to P6.
Here goes Peyton again, and oh, Boyan has cut straight across to the left side of the track to block him there. No harm intended though, no contact made.
Yeah, but that's probably going to be... could be up for discussion in the steward's office if Peyton feels as though Boyan is putting his car where he shouldn't be allowed, well, not so much not allowed to, but under the rules of overtaking, you're only allowed, or defence, you're only allowed to move once, and then you're not to move again. So here we go again. Yeah, Boyan's really trying to break the slipstream, but this time...
Down there, that's contact! Oh, he's lucky to keep that in line there.
I don't think there was contact there, but Peyton was just full on crank sideways as the rear's locked up on him.
Formula drift here.
I just think, yeah, Boyan, as much as it would be great for him to get this result, he is just being a little too aggressive in his defence, which is really going to shape things up. He doesn't want to, he's got to really just, if anything, it's like you said, the mediums are going to come back, this race will come back to him if he stays on the back of Peyton's car. So
yeah, he doesn't need...
he's edging him!
As well. Oh! This is going to be a race all the way down into this turn.
Oh, they're going to go side by side, but Peyton's going to have it. And he had to take a penalty to do that, but he's got it clear. Boyan's going to have the DRS. Is this going to be a return serve? Yes, Boyan's going to go down the inside.
He's going again!
There's contact.
What a battle for third place here.
And Peyton just decides to back it off and put it into the... Oh!
Oi! Oh my word.
I mean, you guys...
Honestly, I mean, man, Boyan, like, props to him for being defensive, but he shouldn't be worrying this much. I mean, the hard tyre is going to become stronger towards the end of the race, but, I mean... It's up to him what he wants to do. He's slowing down Peyton quite a bit here, but we'll have to see what happens because Peyton is not giving up at all.
No, but see, if I was Peyton in this kind of
here.
scenario, I probably would be taking this to the stewards because you just don't move. You're just not allowed to move that much. Well, there's a bit of desynchronization going on at the moment. It's hard to see what's actually going on now because they're just all starting to jitter. This might be the effect of Matt leaving the lobby. It's just suddenly gotten really jittery all of a sudden, so we'll just see.
Oh my!
There's a bit of a switchback there. They're going side by side through 3, and I think
Peyton has gone wide, exceeding track limits there.
And this time he's responds.
Moved once.
Yeah, this time.
Into the inside, but this.
But Bojan goes around the outside. They're absolutely bumper to grind. This is going to end in tears. This is going to end in tears.
Sector.
Oh my goodness me!
Someone needs to calm down. One of them needs to.
Oh well, I think it's finally resolved, but
I think Peyton might fall away here. But again, as we said, the medium tire will begin to fade. It's not out of the question whatsoever. I'll go into the tire here. Yep. So, while Peyton's mediums are younger than Bojan's hards, it's still a 7-lap-old medium. I mean, Bojan's gonna have to keep up pace, like very good pace, if he wants to take back that position. But as the mediums fade away, it will assist him in trying to get back that position. And I hope he does get close, because that battle between those 3 laps was amazing to watch. But as you said,
well, from a spectator's perspective, it's a great spectacle to watch this kind of battling. But from a driver's perspective, Peyton would be absolutely fuming underneath that cockpit. Just
because Peyton, well, both of these guys desperately want a podium, and of course, Bojan has been very, very aggressive. Peyton definitely would have the right to go to the stewards for what he's done here, but it's an interesting one.
Well, I think bottom line is, I mean, it's good racing from both of them, and they managed to keep it off the wall, off each other, off the grass, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a good showing for that kind of matter. So maybe Peyton will let it be, sort of thing. Maybe just say to him, you weren't being very fair. You're kind of blocking me every which way, and then when I'd overtake you, you'd maybe do a little bit of a silly move here to get it back. At the end of it, they managed to stay in. Now, in saying that, like you say, Peyton did get a 3-second time penalty through all this, so that sounds terrible. Just sounds like the car's got no revving. But the gap's already 2.3 seconds, so Peyton will definitely hold on to this. But for Bojan, it will still be a career best finish in any stretch of it. So yeah, we've got 5 laps left to go, and it's pretty much going to be with Ethan Lossing in 2nd place, and then Peyton will, as long as he can stretch out to a 3-second gap, he will hold on to P3 and make it a Toro Rosso 1-3 based on that. A lot of commotion going on in the background. And then you've got Andy Durant on his first race for the Transnation eSports. He's done a good job, P5. Courtney Jackson, P6, and then Jonathan Gutton, P7. He'll be a little disappointed with his accident, but I'm sure he'll want to bounce back and be ready for not only Silverstone tomorrow, but the Chinese Grand Prix next weekend for the regionals. Same time, same place, that sort of stuff. Sector 2, is that? Oh, that's Courtney at turn 10, it looks like. So for those also wanting to know, we actually also do have an Xbox League starting to form up a little bit. We've got a few names already listed up in preparation. We'll sooner or later get a beta series started with that, maybe broadcasted, I don't know. I don't have an Xbox, so it's kind of hard to take control of a league that does it. So any Xbox people out there watching want to run a league, come and have a chat with us. We'll be more than willing to run some negotiations with you and get something sorted out. So just back to that battle with Bojan and Peyton, it has resulted in Peyton managing now to stretch that gap out to 5 seconds. So your prediction should be coming into effect about now with the tyres, but I don't think...
No.
I think Bojan's probably used equally as much tyre in the defence. So there are some ins and outs to... There are some ins and outs to the strategy, and one of them is battling. So hopefully we have a bigger attendance for China in both America and Europe. Europe ended up having to be joint into one group to race. For those who haven't seen that yet, new guy Cameron Young took victory on his debut race for the regionals. We're ahead of Robin Kreft and Yevgeny on the podium, and then in the G2 part of it, Fabio finished effectively P2 or P3 on the track, nearly got P2 on the line, and then it was Ken Doyle and Eden Haas on the podium for that. So Oceania, I think we've just evaluated that Mackenzie Stewart may have taken the win in the Oceania ahead of Josh Banks with I can't remember who was in P3 actually, but
still annoyed I couldn't make it to that race.
No, I can imagine it wasn't that much. It wasn't that fun. I can imagine. I can tell you that much. So you didn't miss much in it. Now, just with 2 laps left to go, Jonathan Carton in serious danger of being put a lap down. So he'll be wanting to get the hammer down a little bit to be sure that he doesn't get put the lap down. The other drivers are more than safe from that, so I think the race is pretty much done and dusted. I mean, yeah, there's 2 laps left to go, anything can happen, but I think pretty much at the moment everyone's now just got their head down, driving to a rhythm, setting their own pace numbers. I'm surprised in a little sense that nobody has actually decided to come in and go for the fastest lap. Like Bojan, for example, is within a pit stop ahead of Andy in P5, so Bojan could almost take a gamble here, come in pit for the fastest lap based on that, or Jonathan, or things. Because the current houser of the fastest lap at the moment is actually Courtney back in P6 on a 31.4. And in saying that, Ethan is only 2/100ths of a second away from that fastest lap, so he could probably take a bit of a gamble, maybe come in, jump on the softs and go for one last flyer. He would lose second to Peyton, but probably would still hold on to P3 ahead of Bojan based on those numbers. Actually, no, he wouldn't actually. He'd end up behind both of them. So, can't really do that. Now, what does Bojan do? Does he pit for the fastest lap? No, he doesn't. Will anyone pit for the fastest lap, I wonder? Not likely. Jonathan's got 1 lap left to stay ahead. And I'm sure if he gets the blue flags, he'll just get out of the way. So he doesn't want to do that. we'll just wait and see. So the gaps have kind of all spread out to a point where there's just no more battles happening, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think as time presses along we'll eventually get more people in. Hopefully we get more tiers built in, and then we might see ourselves in a good position for some good battles over the course of time. The league's ever expanding, so the more numbers we achieve, the better. I like to think we're starting to make our way up there towards some of the bigger names. Without your guys' help, the viewers, subscribers, races and all that, it's definitely not possible. We've also got next month a 2-year special planned for the series, and there will be an interesting little video compounded together with some information pertaining drivers' best moments in the Transnation eSports, the car that they used it in, and what game they had it, if you still have the game. Now, Jonathan is giving the position up, so... Oh, no, oh, he did it again! Oh, he did this 2 seasons, he did this in Season 1!
What's he done?
He just stayed on the apex on the accelerator. And then he's actually he's pretty much almost taken out the leader by doing it.
Wow.
It was lucky enough that the impact of the incident actually took himself out. So, yeah, there's a thing about getting out of driver's way, is Ethan seems to be getting a little ragged on the edge of this. You don't tend to you get off the line and then you back off the accelerator, and then you let the person through that way. You don't stay on the gas to the point of the corner where you're then pretty much mounting the apex, because that could have been... He did that to Guy Tasker in Season 1, but I'll digress from that and worry about that for another day, because right now Jovan McKenzie, despite that little scare there on the final lap, will cross through and take the US honours and win the Bahrain Grand Prix for the US Regionals, and Ethan Lossing will make it P2 for Mercedes. And Jonathan Carton will come...
has taken a hard-earned 3rd place.
Not where he'd want to be, given that he was on the front row on pole position. Oh, well, yeah, for that. And then Bojan, career best finish, P4. And then we'll have...
Cars coming down the second.
So 2 more corners to go, and then we'll complete our driver lineup. Unfortunately, I don't have 2 of the people on my list to talk to, so we won't worry about interviews. Harry, what's your thoughts based on the race?
Yeah, well, outstanding race, couple slip-ups, and a really unfortunate result for a couple of drivers at the back there, including Michael Holland and the early retirement from the McLaren. I forgot his name, sorry. But other than that, it was a pretty interesting race. A couple of outstanding battles, including, of course, the battle between... Who are we watching there?
Bojan and Peyton.
Bojan and, yeah, Peyton. That was an outstanding battle to watch, but could have a couple of steward consequences. Great race to watch and commentate overall, and thank you for inviting me to commentate with you. Happy to do it again next time. Outstanding battle to watch.
Peyton's pretty much come onto the thing and said that he's not going to take it to the stewards, though he feels like he should. But either way, we'll worry about that on another account. Without further ado, Brett Keenan, Harry Lillis signing out from Bahrain. Stay tuned for tomorrow when we go to the Nationals at the Silverstone Grand Prix or the British Grand Prix, or whatever you want to call it, for F2, 3, 1 and 4. Maybe something afterwards, I don't know. We'll think about that as we come along. And then, of course, this time next week for the Chinese Grand Prix. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you at Silverstone, China.